everybody.
Good morning.
Ooh, it's so good to be home. Oh my God.
Oh, you've been traveling lots and working lots, Megs.
My wings are tired. I tell you what, though, having been at a conference while the WikiTree Day and Symposium was going on was a lot of fun because I got to participate in both two times. You didn't even know that we had a watch party at the conference for the WikiTree Day stuff when they had the AI. A bunch of my friends were in the AI talk panel.
Yes.
So a whole bunch of us went up to the business center and watched that instead of doing the regular conference stuff.
Oh, good.
Fun. That was
excellent.
Fun. So happy WikiTree Day. I want to point out one thing really quick off the bat. That's something Greg and I did. We're in a magazine. We wrote an article together. Let's see. WikiTree Today. Join WikiTree Today. I think Chris has it up on the main website. But there's several pages in here.
Yes.
And we really did write it. We did.
We did.
Yeah. So if you're interested in checking it out, get Family Tree magazine and you will see all the good stuff that we said and all the fun things. And look at those fan charts from Greg.
Look at those fan charts. Now, I have to admit, I would say that Megs wrote the bulk of the actual stuff. I added stuff, but it's my picture, it's my fan charts that take up more room in it. So
I'm fine with that because your fan charts, I feel responsible for the fan charts because I cried the loudest for them. I was like, Greg. Okay.
Yes.
So that having been said, we're basking in the light. Greg and I are basking in the light.
International authors now.
Yeah, we're published authors. Yes, we are. Did you notice I put that hashtag on WikiTree next to it? It said published author.
Yeah.
I do want to say that today is a special day, especially here in Ottawa. And if we don't, what we're going to do is we're going to end the live cast about 5 minutes before 11. Because in Canada, everything stops at 11 o'clock. And Greg and I feel really strongly about following that rule of what our life is here in Canada and around the world to really celebrate those people who gave us our freedom. We want to kind of end about 5 minutes till so you can participate. If we don't end at 5 minutes till, we're going to hear the jets fly over my house. When they fly over Parliament, they fly right over our house. So that would be loud and distracting as well. But yeah, we want to honor our people. And you know what? We're going to go right into the question of the week, which is, who are the veterans in your family? Oh, my word. Do you have any veterans, Greg?
My father was a farmer, so he wasn't called up for active duty, but he was called up for the reserves. So I have pictures of him, which I couldn't find in time before, of him in his uniform.
Betsy Co, how about you?
Yes, I have to go back to the Civil War to find them. But yes, I have some veterans.
And people, I was just saying before the live cast that we could write a book on the answers that we get on sometimes from this stuff. We could write an anthology. There's lots of great answers. And people are talking about all of their ancestors. Please do upvote these as you go through them. And a lot of people are having, there's a lot of that talking back and forth going on. I love this one. Let's see. Oh, I have a few. I have to go backwards. This one's from Nan Starjack. Career Army was my husband, 2 tours in Vietnam. He wouldn't talk about it much. His sister and her husband were both retired Air Force career, Pacific during World War II. And then my brother, our dad, my great uncle in the Spanish-American War, 2 great grandfathers served in the Union in the Civil War. Vicksburg, younger brother, also serving in the Union, was killed there. 2 great uncles. A 4th great grandfather recognized for civilian service in the Revolutionary War. There are so many lines going back. I can do the same thing. I'm sure that we could all do the same thing. My suggestion to you is to go through and spend some time reading through some of this. It's amazing. And it's not just you know, American centric. There are people here from Canada, from all over the world who are celebrating their veterans as well today. And I wanted to share something special for me. So this is a picture of the 81st Infantry Wildcats, which did their training in Columbia, South Carolina. Uh, and this is a picture from Columbia as they're marching through the town. But one of the things that they did is back when they were at Camp Jackson, they trained along a creek called Wildcat Creek. So the division was dubbed the Wildcat Division, and they were the very first division to ever design and wear an insignia on their, I believe it's the left shoulder of the uniform, and it's of a wildcat. And here is the original insignia.
Oh, neat.
Wildcat, and this is what the wildcat insignia kind of looks like today. And it is still worn. It was the very first insignia to identify them. And this is the really, really big thing here. And now, up until today, I thought this was 1911, November the 11th, 1918, but it could have been October something to November the 11th, so the dates, but it's pretty darn close. And this is my grandfather right here in the back.
Oh,
wow.
That is Fletcher Earl Galden. He was a corporal, and this is the 321st Infantry Regiment, and there is actually a book that was written about their exploits. And they were there for a very short time, which I'm very happy for. But it's a very good book written back by one of the men that was in this unit. So that is my homage to all veterans everywhere. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Greg and hope that you are also supporting and enjoying your veterans today.
Thank you, Megs. So going from that topic to the profiles of the week, seems we're doing quite an about face sort of thing, from a very serious topic to one that's well, it's all about entertainment. So because of the recent passing of Matthew Perry, who was of course one of the 6 Friends on the television show Friends. And so the question is, which Friends cast member are you most closely connected to? And Matthew Perry, of course, is the lead one.
Have you guys looked through this? Have you looked through to see if you're the most closely related yet?
I think Matthew is the one I think Matthew is the one I'm most closely related to.
You know what? You're most closely related to by degrees. Jennifer Aniston.
Oh.
Betsy is Matthew Perry. She wins the prize for today. And I am mostly related to Courtney Cox, of course.
Isn't that interesting?
The quirky one.
The quirky one. Well, that's very interesting. Wow. So you'll notice there's more than just 6 friends here in the list, because they've pulled in some other people who played relatives or special guest stars. And so, to keep your scorecard straight, I made a little family tree of the ones that we're going to see today. So we have the 6 friends here, of course, but 2 of them were brother and sister, and those are the actors who played their parents on Friends. And then Ross married Rachel at one point, and those are her parents, or the people who played her parents on Friends. And then, of course, Courtney at the end, her character married Matthew Perry's character, and then Matt was a roommate, and Lisa was a brief point in time was another roommate, but they're all, of course, the friends. And the extra people who showed up in our profiles of the week, there was one episode where Robin Williams and Bruce Willis were just hanging out in the back of the coffee shop. So I put them here in the coffee shop.
Nice.
And Sarah Ferguson was a guest at Ross's first wedding to Emily in England, that episode that took place in England. She popped by and did a cameo appearance. And then Isabella's connection is a little more tenuous. I've got little dream clouds around her, because there was one episode where they were talking about, who's the person you're allowed to date or whatever. And she was Ross's dream date. And then later that episode, she shows up in real life. And of course, he can't do anything.
Yeah, he's like...
Yeah, exactly.
Being wrong.
So that's how our profiles are connected in the fictional TV world. But let's just check them out in real life.
That's fun, Greg.
I thought it was, there's so many connections just from
What's a
the.
genealogist supposed to do? Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Create
One
a
has
tree.
to. Yeah, one has to map it out and everything, right? So Matthew Langford Perry, 69 to 2023, is my 9th cousin. So that's why I thought he was the one who was closest related to me. But he's off by 1 degree, I guess, right? So he was born on the 19th of August, 1969, Williamstown, Berkshire, Massachusetts, and then passed away just recently, the 28th of October in Los Angeles. But he's got a huge Canadian connection because he spent much of his childhood in Ottawa. His mother was the press secretary for the prime minister at the time, which was Pierre Elliott Trudeau, the father of the current prime minister, Justin Trudeau. And in fact, he went to school with Justin Trudeau, and Justin Trudeau actually acknowledged his death and made a post on X or Twitter, I think. So to acknowledge that. Of course, his claim to fame is playing Chandler Bing on the sitcom Friends, found unresponsive Hot Tub. But he did other things as well. He played in many other things. Interesting here, they have his DNA, his Y-DNA group, RU152, which is a high-level group. I actually descend from that high-level group, as do a lot of people. It's a very popular one, isn't it?
I posted this section on DNA actually because he is a match to my dad.
Is he?
I mean, and that's back thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
But he's one of those notable connections that FTDNA have in their discovery thing. So if you go to the discovery tool, you can see if there are notable connections. And my dad has a notable connection to him. So
isn't that neat?
Isn't that fun? Yeah.
In keeping with the veteran theme, his great-great-grandfather was a Civil War veteran and then a physician after that. So that's kind of neat. And he was also said to be the last living son of a Revolutionary War veteran. So that's interesting. There's even a link to Justin Trudeau's article paying homage to him. So so there's Justin Trudeau. So Matthew is my 9th cousin. Justin, he and I are 8th cousins once removed. So I'm connected to both of them. I wonder if they're connected to each other. Well, luckily on WikiTree, we have this tool, this relationship tool, and look at that. Justin and Matthew are actually 6 cousins, twice removed.
Oh, so my goodness.
Schoolmates are cousins.
I wonder if they knew.
I'll run over to Justin's house and just drop that note in his mailbox.
You do that.
I'll do that.
So I kind of thought that was neat. Then, let me just put myself. I'm getting notices. Chris, you're sending me notices, and I don't want them during my live. What's that?
Chris Whitten sending you a notice?
No, Chris Ferriolo is pinging me.
Chris, stop that.
I'm just going to silence that. Sorry. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, but...
Stop it.
Courtney Cox. She distant cousin, but she played Monica, of course, Ross's sister.
She's my 10th. She's a 10th cousin once removed.
10th cousin?
Nice.
Wow.
She's my closest.
She's your closest.
The quirky one.
Yeah. American actress, filmmaker, born in the 60s. Actually 64. WikiTree is being careful about privacy here, but then the biography gives it all away. But it's from Wikipedia, but the Wikipedia article would do it. So, it's sort of fair game. Born on June 15th, 1964. So she's almost exactly 5 months younger than me. Richard Cox and Courtney Bass, and she's still living, and so she has a nice short. Now they play in the end, in the last season. Sorry, spoiler alert. She did marry Chandler Bing in the show.
Spoiler alert.
In case you haven't watched Friends in 20.
You hadn't watched Friends, and you didn't read anything. but the actors themselves were actually distantly related. Then we get to Ross Geller, David Schwimmer, one of the three male friends. He was my favorite because, you know, he studied paleontology and, you know, played with dinosaurs, you know.
I liked him a lot too.
Yeah. Actor, director, and producer. I'm wondering if I've seen anything that he's actually directed and produced, but I can't think of anything offhand. Of course, worldwide recognition for portraying Ross Geller. Again, he was born in the 60s. And if you look in the bio, you can see it's actually the 2nd of November, 1966 in Queens, New York. And let's see. He is not related to the person who played his sister. So the brother and sister on screen are not anywhere related biologically. So the relationship can tell you how you're related, but it can also tell you flat out, no, sorry, can't get there from here.
They were convincing appearance-wise. You could believe.
They were, though. Yeah, it was good casting that way. Yeah. And their chemistry was very brotherly, sistery, you know, kibitzing, teasing. Yeah. With some fondness mixed in. It was well done. And then we have Jennifer Aniston, 25th cousin, 17 degrees. So she's a much more distant cousin, but because of a marriage somewhere in the middle, she ends up being one step closer to my relationship. I'm going to knock my poppy out. Oops, I'll try. Again, born in the 60s, American actress, producer, businesswoman, one of the world's highest paid actresses. I didn't actually realize that. But she's done lots of stuff, and she's still doing lots of stuff. So that's not surprising. Jennifer Joanna Aniston was her full name. Born the February 11th, 1969 in Sherman Oaks in Los Angeles, California. Daughter of actors John Aniston and Nancy Dowd. Oh, and her godfather was Telly Savalas from Kojak.
Really? Wow. So she's from that Hollywood dynasty.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Godfather.
right. Yeah, she began working as an actress at a young age. And of course, Rachel Green was her claim to fame, but she's done lots of other things since then. Yeah. Divorced from actor Brad Pitt. Of course, that got lots of press. And then she's now separated from Justin Theroux, but she was married to him for 3 years, I think. And she practices Hatha Yoga, Budokan Karate, and Transcendental Meditation. So, there we go. Now, moving on to Lisa Kudrow, the quirky one. I liked her. I liked her a lot too. She's a great actress, and I love the time that sometimes when she played her twin sister Ursula, they were just
split screen. Yeah,
split screen. It was just great. She was born in 1963. Okay, is she the oldest one in terms of actors? We've had some 64s. I think 63 might be the earliest one so far that we've come across. Her parents were Nedra Stern and Dr. Lee N. Kudrow. She has 2 older siblings, and she married French-born Michel Stern, and they have 1 son. And apparently she's the only one of the 6 friends who is still married. The others have been married and divorced, and so good for her for sticking together.
She found her lobster.
What's that?
She found her lobster.
She found her lobster. That's right.
If you don't know what that is, that's what Ross always said about Jennifer Aniston. That's what Lisa Kudrow always said. That Jennifer Aniston was Ross's lobster.
Oh.
Because lobster's made for life.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. She also was featured on and produced a U.S. version of Who Do You Think You Are?
Oh.
Yeah. So there we go.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then the 6th, I think this is the 6th friend. I think we've done all the other 5, right?
Yes.
Matt LeBlanc, Joey Tribbiani, who's also my 9th cousin. Anyone who has French background is likely to be close up there. American actor producer known for Joey Tribbiani. He had briefly had a spin-off show, right? I don't.
Yeah. Oh no, it actually did well, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it did well.
Yeah. I don't know. I never ended up watching that.
It
Would
was
have been
called
interesting.
Joey, right?
That's
It's
right.
called Joey, yeah.
I don't think I ever watched it either.
I watched once.
That's okay. He was born July 25th, 1967 in Newton, Massachusetts, son of Paul LeBlanc, an auto mechanic, and Patricia DiCillo LeBlanc, an office manager.
It
And
went
he is
2 seasons.
2 seasons. Oh, well, that's good. So many just die after the first season or even halfway through the first season if it's really bad. So that's good for him.
My son's best friend's name is Matt LeBlanc.
Oh, neat. Neat. So interesting. So we had a Matthew and a Matt playing, you know, two of the main characters. And since they're both my 9th cousin, I wondered, are they related to each other? Just like Justin Trudeau was. And sure enough, Matthew and Matt are themselves 9th cousins to each other. So I thought that was kind of cool. But what's even cooler is the relationship finder in WikiTree gives you a note here. Well, first of all, if you're related in more than one way, you can choose different common ancestors to show the different paths. So for example, if I chose this ancestor, it would give me a slightly different descendancy chart for both of them. But going back to the first one, Jean Hébert, who was an Acadian, by the way, in case you're wondering. And there's a note for both of them that Matthew's descended from Jean in more than one way, and Matthew is descended, and Matt is descended more than one way in 4 different ways. So I thought, wow, that looks kind of complicated. I wonder what that looks like. And you know what? There's an app for that. In the tree apps, there happens to be an app called the Ancestor Webs, and you can load up.
Wow.
You can load up 2 different people and compare how they descend from a common ancestor. And here is that comparison. So there is, let me just scroll up. So this is there's lots of different charts you can get on this page, depending on which one of these headings you click on. And I've demonstrated this app before, including on WikiTree Day. So I'm not going to go through the basics of how I put this together, but here is the Ancestor in Common web. So there's the common ancestor, Jean Hébert. And so Matthew, they said he was descended in 2 ways, and here's the going up through his mother, and then there's a branching at his great-grandfather, and they both his parents go up to Olivier Hébert, and then from René to Jean. So there's the 2 different paths that Matthew has to get to the common ancestor. And Matt has 4. So if you see through his father, it branches twice, and then through his paternal grandfather branches again, and then again through his great-great-great-grandmother, there's another branching. So all of that gives you all the different paths and ways that they're connected. Isn't that kind of cool?
So cool.
I did that app with all of my family, and it looks like a 60s art piece.
Yes. Like a string art, yes. Yeah. You can show all of the different connections. If I go to common, you can see they have 20 different common ancestors. And so when you look at that, well, you have to zoom out to see all of the different connections, but that's basically like, it's crazy.
It is.
So that's why I'm a single view, so you could scroll through them and look at one ancestor at a time. And so some of them, like this is one of the most complicated ones, which is kind of cool because there's 2 connections on one side, 4 on the other, and then the next ancestor looks just as well. Look at so Matt. Well, I guess with his last name LeBlanc, it's French on both sides, right? Probably, or maybe. Look at all these interconnections up to this ancestor, whereas Matthew has just a single line going directly to that person. So anyways, that's just a cool little side trip we took.
Not with you. No, we never go on side trips.
No, never.
This is very appropriate after
apropos.
Appropriate after October.
Yeah, there we go. Excellent. Okay. So Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, Mountbatten, Windsor, very distant cousin of mine, but born in the 50s, Duchess of York, and you wonder, how is she connected? Well, I guess I told you up front. She did a guest cameo for the one episode where they were filmed it. I think they filmed 2 episodes in England, and it was Ross's first, or actually his second wedding, right? To Emily, a very brief wedding, very brief marriage, but she was a celebrity cameo on that. Of course, she's the former wife of Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, and the younger brother, who is the younger brother of King Charles. She was born in October 15th, 1959 in London, England, and is still living and doing great stuff. Then we have Elliot Gould, who played the father of Ross and Monica Geller.
Another good pick based on their look.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Look at him. Like, you can see
Ross.
Ross in him.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it was brilliant casting, and he's a great actor. He really played well.
Yeah.
His character was the perfect goofy dad, embarrassing his kids, but loved him to death.
Yeah. But he's also known as from the film version of MASH as Trapper John. He played Reuben in the Ocean's 11 series.
Mm-hmm.
So he was he the millionaire who was always reluctantly dragged into the scheme? I can't remember what his character was.
I remember him in the movie, but I don't remember the
specifics. But he was always good there. I always seem to think he was a little, are you sure about this? Because they were kind of crazy schemes, right? So, and then of course Saturday Night Live, Jack Geller is why he's in this group. And then most recently he was in a show called The Kaminsky Method. Have you seen that one?
No.
It won a lot of awards though.
Yeah, it's quite good. We've seen the first couple episodes. Anyways, great actor. Next we have Isabella Rossellini, who was so the dream, Ross's dream date, and showed up in an episode. So that's her connection to this category. I had forgotten that her mother was Ingrid Bergman.
I forgot that too. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but if you look at her face, you can see her in there. Yeah, mm-hmm. And of course her father was Rossellini, Roberto Gastone Zeffiro Rossellini, and she herself, as well as being an actress, was an author, philanthropist, model, and has worked primarily in the United States. She has a twin sister, Ingrid. Oh, just like her mother's name. Oh. And they were born in 1952 in Rome. Daughters of Ingrid Bergman and Roberto Rossellini. So, and then we have Marlo Thomas, who played the mother of Rachel Green. Mm. And of course, she is best known as That Girl. That was the television show that was her breakout hit. Her father is Amos Jacobs, but he's better known as Danny Thomas. He was an actor, comedian. And her mother was Rose Casaniti. And she's married to Phil Donahue. She appeared in a number of television shows, theater productions. Her performance in an unsuccessful pilot television show resulted in her proposing a show about a young woman who leaves home and moves to New York City and struggles to become an actress. And that became That Girl. Which I don't think I've actually seen. So I'm gonna
I used to love watching that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder now, what service is it available on now? Like, could it get it on Prime or?
I bet you can get it on Plex or Tubi if you have a Roku.
Oh, okay.
They have like channels for just the show.
Okay.
Like there's a Friends channel, and you can watch Friends every day, all day, 24 hours a day.
Oh, be interesting to go back. That Girl was one of the first television shows to focus on a working single woman who did not live with her parents, and it paved way for many shows to come. So was this a precursor to the Mary Tyler Moore show?
I thought Mary Tyler Moore was the pioneer.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I will look this up.
Yes.
Google to the rescue.
I mean, it sounds like they both are very similar, right, in terms of.
So the Mary Tyler Moore show
was early 70s.
1970 to 1977. So when was that girl?
That girl. It doesn't say the date here of that girl.
I'm looking that up.
We could go.
1966.
Oh,
So it was
wow.
4 years before.
The trailblazer.
Trailblazer.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. Then we have Robin Williams, of course, born in 1951 in Chicago, Illinois. Passed away, sadly, on 11th of August, 2014. 2014? That long ago?
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't seem that long ago. Of course, he was one of the best for just so many things that he did. But his connection with Friends was showing up. Let me see if I
Sitting in the coffee shop.
sitting in the coffee shop. Yeah, sitting in the coffee shop. And yeah, he's just done so many wonderful things. And I don't know. There's nothing more you can say, really. And then Bruce Willis, who I think was also sitting in the coffee shop with him, but Chris was pinging me about something, so I don't know.
He had a running. He was on it several times, is what Chris was saying.
He was a boyfriend of Rachel.
Was he?
Period.
So he wasn't in the coffee shop with Robin Williams?
No, somebody else was. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal was in. I saw. You know what? I was going too fast this morning. I saw the B and Billy, and I thought B and Bruce. I thought they paired them together.
I have to say that whoever picked these people this week did their work.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Some of these are deep cuts. Indeed. So Bruce Willis, not in the coffee shop. I'll have to take him out of that. And so a boyfriend of Rachel's. Born on the 19th of March, 1955 in Idar Oberstein, Rhineland-Palatinate, West Germany. And his parents were Marlene and David Andrew Willis. After being discharged from the military in 1957, his father relocated the family to his hometown of Carneys Point, New Jersey, USA. His father was a welder, master mechanic, and factory worker. He attended Penns Grove High School. We're talking about Bruce now at this point, I'm thinking. When he joined the drama club, found that acting on stage reduced his stutter. Interesting. Elected student council president. All right. And his alma mater was Montclair State University. Worked as a security guard, Salem Power Plant, transporting crew members in the deep water. Moved to New York City in the 1977, married twice, 5 children, and then claimed fame with Moonlighting, that TV show, and then, of course, Die Hard. And diagnosed with aphasia, which impacts the ability to speak and other cognitive abilities. I'm living with that now, so which is sad, but great actor, and Friends actor as well. So there we go.
Lisa says somebody needs to add Bruce's mother since she is mentioned in his biography.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's right. There's no mother here, but there should be, right?
Yeah.
She's mentioned here.
Is there a father?
Even if she's private?
If she's living?
Well, it just says Marlene. It doesn't actually say what her maiden name was.
Aha. And Brian is correcting us. The type of issue that Bruce Willis has is actually a frontal temporal dementia with aphasia, which is
so it's not just aphasia.
It's not a common thing, but it's quite common with that type. A lot of people who have that kind of dementia have issues with speaking.
I see. Okay. So just going back to my little chart here, the 2 people that show up here that aren't actually profiles of the week, the actress who played the mother, Christina Pickle, she does not have a profile on WikiTree, but her father does.
Oh.
Her father has and her brother, who has passed away, has a profile, but Christina herself does not. But I think she's notable enough that we could create one for her. So that's a challenge I throw out to someone who's here. And the other one is that there is Ron Liebman does have a profile, but he doesn't have a photo. And the photo I found on Wikipedia looks like it's copyrighted, so I don't know if we can use it or not.
And Ron Liebman, it was who?
Sorry? Ron Liebman played the Marlo Thomas's.
And what about the coffee shop owner?
Oh, Gunther.
Yeah, he's passed away, hasn't he?
Oh, could be, yeah. I mean, I was just talking about the two people here that I haven't mentioned their profiles, but you're right. There's a whole pile of other people I'm connected.
So you know how trivial we are if we can pick up all of this extra stuff from friends. Don't challenge us in Trivial Pursuit.
That's right.
Anyways, and there's the common ancestor that Matthew and Matt and myself actually all share. Jean Hébert, who is a great Acadian from 1653 to 1707 in Acadie. So shout out to the Acadian Project, Cindy Cooper and all the gang. And with that, I turn it over to you, Betsy.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Greg. So we have some photos. We're turn the calendar page over to November. So the new theme is pets. And we have 7 photos of pets to share. I'm going to make this a little bigger. How's that? Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is Alexis Nelson's father.
Alexis always has great.
That's amazing.
And look at, he's got a little trumpet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she said that this photo was a favorite of her grandparents, so much so that they had it made into a paperweight, or one of the photos from the series at any rate. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't believe the dog stood for that. And
I know, right? Well, all right, check this out. And then Vicky Blanco.
Look at the little rifle too. Oh my goodness.
She said, "Oh, I want to see the other photo." And so Alexis obliged. Down here, the tables are turned.
Oh, that's great.
So, you know, it was all very egalitarian. Everybody
He became a truck driver.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Let's see. And John Thompson says, now we know the rest of the story. Now, here we have, I have to remember who submitted this. Oh, Vicky. This is Vicky's photo. You know, I'm going to make this a little smaller just so we can see it. Okay, so her family, like my family, they had a series of dogs and they named each of the dogs the same thing. So in their family, the dog was called Bobby. In my family, it was a German Shepherd named Lady, and who knows how many of those we had. This young boy standing here is her father, and the little baby next to Bobby is one of her aunts. And she said, when I was a child, we visited my grandparents every weekend, and one day they found me trying Bobby's food. This would be the Bobby from the 80s. Good dog. He didn't bite me. That's adorable.
Wow.
Now this one, I love the thought bubble.
Oh, look at that.
Thought bubble, thinking back to 1954. So on the left with the thought bubble is Queenie, remembering her youth. While her genealogy is unknown, she is believed to have Shetland sheepdog, Sheltie, and German Shepherd roots. Top right, we have Queenie with her pets, Carol, Eric, Linden, and Diane. She followed the popular traditional custom of dogs to have humans as pets. She took good care of her humans, making sure they had ample playtime and went for regular walks. He adopted Eric and his family after he was orphaned following the death of his previous canine companion, Whitey. And you can see Whitey in the lower right.
Oh, yeah.
There he is. Aww. So I think this was John Vasky, Eric Farba. Sorry, Eric Farba. Thank you, Eric. That was delightful.
That's nice.
And if anyone has seen Darren Kellett on a LiveCast, you will recognize Snowflake. So we have a very nice photo of her.
Mhm.
WikiTree's favorite cat. This is Kay Knight's dog, who sadly just passed. Her name was
Aw.
Molly.
We're sorry,
Um,
Kay.
yeah, July 10th of this summer, age
Yeah.
14. She spent her last day watching me sitting at the computer doing WikiTree things. We miss her
Aw.
terribly. She looks so sweet.
Oh, very sad.
Yeah. And then this very handsome dog here
Mm.
this was John Thompson, and this is the dog of this is a portrait of Janet Marion McNabb's pet dog taken in England in 1927. At the time, his father was crossing the southern United States by motorcycle on his way to marry Janet, his first wife.
Mm.
So, yes, and he has quite a series of photos of the dog with the family.
Nice.
Doesn't say what the dog's name was, but very nice. I think we have one more. Yes, one more. Fonzie is this black lab's name. And this is Karen Carter's photo, 1979. That's her and her brothers. Fonzie was such a friendly, happy dog and followed us kids everywhere. She lived to be at least 12 years old.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Karen. And there's still 3 more weeks of November to get to post your adorable, sweet, cuddly pet photos. So, and we have 2 ancestors to celebrate today. And one is very historical. So I'm going to switch over to that profile. We are celebrating, and I don't know exactly how to say this. Saher or Saher? What do you guys think?
Saher? Yeah, I think.
Saher de Quincy. He was, so Doug Tabor nominated Saher, said that it was his 25th great-grandfather. And as you can see, he's my 24th great-grandfather.
Wow.
And we can look at the photo a little more closely. So he was, the Magna Carta, when it was signed in the early 13th century, was between these 25 barons and the King of England at the time. And the barons were rebellious and the king was not the best monarch. And so my understanding is the Magna Carta was an attempt to mediate between these two parties. And the barons had sureties to make sure that they held up to their side of the bargain. And so Saher was one of the sureties for a baron. So it's quite because of the age of the profile, it's under the guidance of pre-1500 guidelines. And this is a very, very interesting profile. So go ahead and read it. It's Quincy 226. And so the tie-in to November is that Saher died on November 3rd. And notice he died in Damietta, Egypt, because he was on the 5th Crusade. He was taken ill and passed away. So yes, so there is our first November ancestor, and our second ancestor. Let me go there. Was nominated by Sue Carta, and she said she just on November 1st of this month said, I received a graduation announcement for my grand uncle Willie C. Jennery. And he graduated from Wheaton High School in Minnesota, probably the first in the family to graduate in high school since her grandfather, Roy, didn't graduate because he was enlisted in World War I. And so the items that I'm showing right now were mailed to Sue by her cousins who know that she's the family historian, and
Mhm.
she's thrilled to receive them. So it's quite special.
Nice.
She was commenting that you can see the crest of the high school. This is the address of his parents, and this class roll is of the entire graduating class.
Wow.
She wrote in her description, "Rabbit hole, rabbit hole."
Oh yes, space page, free space page.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. So now if I can.
I'm amazed that the address got there without any street address, just the name of the town.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. That's saying something, isn't it?
Everybody
Wow.
knows everybody.
Yeah.
So it's a nice profile with some pictures and a biography. Willie's tie to November is that he was born on November 3rd,
That
1902.
same 3rd November.
Yeah. We have a birth date and a death date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was a bookkeeper and for an oil products company. Sadly, he was ill for the last few years of his life. And so he was born, lived and died in Minnesota. So thank you both, Sue and Doug, for sharing those.
Mm-hmm.
And keep them coming. We have more to come. I just spilled my coffee.
Oh.
Okay, Gray, could you please show the family timeline on the WikiTree browser extension? That was to be my tip of the week.
Oh, okay.
Very sorry.
Okay.
I thought you were going to ask him to come clean it up. Do you have any paper towels?
I'll be there in 5 hours.
Quick.
Okay. The family timeline on the sure. Let me just share my screen again. And so that common ancestor that you had, he's not my common ancestor, though he's a second cousin, the Saher that we were talking about. So let's look at Matthew Perry's timeline. So if we go to Tree Apps, there is the family timeline. And if we click on that, go. The nice thing about now, where are we here? I wonder if he's not, maybe I'll switch to Windsor one.
Yeah.
Because,
I'll give you one.
yeah. Because he has some still living people, but here we go. So Windsor 1 is Queen Elizabeth II. And on the family timeline, you can see her lifespan goes from, if I zoom out, you can see there, from when she was born in 1926 to passed away in 2022. And so, of course, the red line is today. And then you can see her. Compared to that, you can see her spouse, Prince Philip, who was born. You can just visually, you can see, oh, he's a little older. He was born a little bit before, and he passed away just a few years earlier than that. And then you can see how her sister's timeline was shortened and whatnot, how her parents compare. But the neat thing is that you can also grab any of them. So say we want to look at her father, we make him you click on him, and now he becomes the central person. And then you can see him in comparison to his spouse, his children, Elizabeth and Margaret, again, and then all of his siblings, and then his parents. And then you can just travel back and forth. And it's really quite an interesting, really cool, quick way to navigate through and investigate how family relationships relate. And I don't think there's any other extra features or customizations or settings that you can do here right now. Though if we go to help,
Wine wants to know, where did you get that?
Where did I get that? So I guess I went through that fairly quickly. So I did. So let me go back to, we'll use Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Oh man, what a handle he was born with. You go to Tree Apps. So at the top of every profile, there's these tabs, which we often ignore, but one of them now says Tree Apps. You click on that and it will open up, there's a bunch of different apps to choose from, and it will open up the one that you used most recently. So because I just used the family timeline, it opens up this new one with family timeline. The default one, if you haven't used them in a while or you've just opened up your browser, is this couples dynamic view. But you can go down to the fan chart if you wanted to. But we're looking at the family timeline right now. I click on that, hit go, and there's the person whose profile I was at, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, his brother, his sister, his older sister, and the one child who has passed away, sadly. Because this comes from the app server, it does not show living people, or it doesn't show unless they're on your watch list. So Justin, who is in WikiTree, will not show on here because he's a living individual still.
So this is interesting. I actually got to it a different way.
Did you?
I did.
Oh,
if I can take over for
you take right over.
Yeah.
You didn't go through tree apps.
I didn't because I use the Wiki Browser Tree extension.
Oh.
So you can see that under the main menu, you have these clear ones, and I went to Family Timeline.
And to have that, you have to have the.
Oh, so you're using that timeline.
I was going to show that.
Sorry.
No, yours was good. I learned something from what you did. So, the things that are bolded are related to the individual, whose profile you're looking at. Things that are in parentheses means that that's an approximation, and things. There's the death has a little arrow, a little ribbon, and that means after the death. Yet another reason to get the Wiki Browser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
Extension.
Cool.
Right.
Thank you, Betsy and Greg. And that whole mess is now cleaned up. You got enough paper towels? Good.
Yeah.
There are some key things coming up soon. So what's happening around WikiTree? Go to your G2G feed, and it's pinned at the top. You can check that out. Aowen gets that put together for us every week. So we are in the first week of November. We're like the
11th.
So what is this? Ask Alesh is coming up the 8th. Let's see. Ask Alesh.
That was last. It's all, yeah.
What? So we're Saturday sourcing sprints going on today. The U.S. Black Heritage Weekend Sprint focus on veterans. We are here with the roundup. The Heritage Exchange class is going on. I should be able to, because I have the extension, I can check that out. The weekend chat next week. There's also month-long challenges going on with the BioBuilders Connect Canada Project Notables. Fun watching some of the discussion going on about that and the notables for the Canada Project. Did I say biscuits today? I didn't say biscuit. Biscuits all week long. So there's lots of stuff going on, ongoing events. And if you are wanting to share social media, check out the Ambassadors Project. They have a social media tab down in the page. You can go over and check out all of the things that you could share. And you can also find out a little bit more information. How, now is that Thurston? No. What is it? Thurston Howe the Third, the guy from Gilligan's Island. Howe is the surname for the one named Tuesday. And San Filippo del Mea Sicilia is the one place study, which I'm assuming is somewhere over there in Italy, you guys. And the Adoption Angels is the project showcase. So check it out. If you want to share the love, the WikiTree love, please do so. We appreciate that. We also appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you like us, upvote us. We will see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.